Toughness wins. Speaking of tough, Julian Edelman now is joining us live. So I didn't know this before, but I just discovered this in the preamble before we went on the air. So you did the roast.
Yeah.
And that's a big crowd. It wasn't tiny. How
was
big?
huge.
Tell the audience how big it was.
It was 15,000 at the Forum.
Okay. So down the road, the Forum, that's where that was Showtime Lakers. So you did something to prepare, which takes a lot of courage.
Yeah.
And this is so Julian Edelman. This is such a Patriot way. Tell the audience what you did to prepare.
Well, I found out I was doing the show probably 2.5 weeks before the show. And, all the athletes were pretty nervous just because you're going to get on stage, you're going to talk in front of a whole lot of people, and you're also talking with professionals or going against professionals. These guys do this for a living, the comics. So I was getting super nervous. Jeff Ross was, we were doing our brainstorm meetings where his team was there, my team was together. We get on a Zoom link and we go over jokes. We went over what we wanted to hit. They had some things for us. And, it was getting overwhelming. So Jeff could kind of feel that for me. And he goes, hey, I'm going to do the Comedy Store next Thursday. Why don't you come on and I'll have you on the back part of my set. And I said, awesome, let's do it. So
the fact that you said awesome.
I treated it like a game. I needed walkthrough reps. I needed a preseason game, and then I wanted to go hit the game. You know what I mean? So the walkthrough reps was with my team where I would perform in front of them, and I would do our jokes in front of them. Like, we were in full roast mode for 2 weeks. We all hated each other by the end of it because everyone's making a joke about each other just to kind of get the jokes going. And it was very nerve-wracking going to the Comedy Store on a Thursday because I did about 12 minutes there.
Whoa.
And
that's a lot of material.
It was, because you wanted to go fat so you could see reactions. And it was good to get that rep because, some part of your jokes, when you're setting a joke up, people start laughing or start talking about it or you get paused up. So it was good to feel that so then you could deliver the end of the joke. So, I go there and it was nerve-wracking because it's very intimate at the Comedy Store.
Yes.
I mean, there's like 400 people, 300 people. We were in one of the bigger rooms, and everyone's right up on you. Thankfully, we had a group of like 25-year-old frat bros that knew everything about sports, so my material was flying. I was good. But it was a good rep to have, and after that, going into the roast, I felt a lot more confident for the show just because I could feel the beats of when I was going up there. Like one of the jokes, you're performing something, and I said, you barrel-chested SOB for Bill, and people started laughing, but that was the first part of my joke. So then I knew going into the roast that people were probably going to laugh at that. I got to take a beat, then I get back to my joke, and then deliver. So it was a fun experience. Nerve-wracking.
Let me tell you something. When you did 12 minutes, did you have a paper next to you?
I had cards.
Okay,
so
yeah, you did.
I had all my cards on jokes, and by the end, I mean, I knew my jokes, but I was shaking at the Comedy Store. I mean,
of course you were.
I'm not a comic by any means.
I think comics probably from time to time get nervous on sets.
Yeah, and when I got to the roast the day before, it was kind of like getting to a game early. You get to see where the shot, the play clock is. You get to see the field. You saw where everyone was sitting, so you could dictate your jokes to the certain people. I saw Mr. Kraft. I saw Alex Guerrero, so I could see where they were going to be in the crowd, so I could go to them. And it was, I treated it like a football game.
So when you were in the cocktail room or the green room, they call it in our industry, before you go out, we have it here, we call it the avocado room. It's California, of course. In the green room, when you guys are all there before you go out, intense?
Now, you have a lot of legends.
Yeah.
In one room. And all the athletes were with the athletes, and so you could see guys were nervous, but they didn't want to show their nervousness. So guys would, go to the bathroom, kind of run their lines by themselves. No one wanted to do it because you didn't want to have your material in front of the other people. But it was guys were definitely nervous. But it was honestly very fun to catch up with a lot of guys. I mean, our green room, we had Randy, Gronk, Bill, me, Bledsoe. And we were just like, it was so fun to hear the old war stories. Bill opened up. He was we were talking about rookie skits and stuff because we were in skit mode with the whole roast. And it was a fun experience.
How much of it did Tom know was coming? Or did he go there and just sit and listen? I mean, he had material too, but I mean,
I kept reiterating to the writers and stuff. I'm like, is everything on limits here? Like, are we good? Like, we could talk this, we could talk that.
Sure.
They go, he said, everything's good.
Oh, boy.
And I was still a little nervous going into with my set with certain things just because.
Family stuff maybe or something.
Family stuff. But then once the first 5 minutes of the roast happened and Kevin Hart dropped his opening lines, I was like, oh, we're good. We're good.
Yeah, he kind of cleared the air.
He cleared the air, which that's a good teammate. He did that to probably make us feel comfortable with what we were going to say. And you could really see the professionals, the Kevin Harts, the Jeff Rosses, the Nikki Glazers, all of them, all the comics, you could see why they were professionals with Kevin, like I was watching teleprompter the whole time. I wanted to see how people were going to deliver off teleprompters because there's teleprompters everywhere and you could see them. And with Kevin, he could pull something from what someone just said and it would be a completely different term or whatever than what the teleprompter said, but he would be able to get back into the prompter to keep the show going. Like, that's when you see professionals at work, along with Jeff, along with Nikki. I mean, all these comics, that's why they're pros. They know how to entertain. They knew how to pull things, bring things, and listen, and then deliver.
I thought Albert Breer said this, that the roast was a Patriots therapy session to get stuff out that you probably kind of wanted to get out, but in a funny way, so it wasn't as hurtful?
Yeah, fully. I mean, I looked right at Bill when I said my joke to him.
And he loved it. That's the thing he laughed hardest at.
You know what? I didn't get a lot of TV time on that Dynasty, so he probably laughed at my joke.
He still liked you. No, but your joke was and I was talking to somebody who said Bill used to say that all the time.
All the time.
Basically,
weekly.
I can find a guy at Foxborough High that can do this.
Yeah. Well, Foxborough High is the only job opportunity you had, Coach. And I love saying it now, but it was all out of love. And I thought he was a great sport.
I thought Bill, you know what? I thought Bill won the night.
He did a really good job.
Because Bill came in, fair or not, Bill came in viewed by the league as a little combative. Mm-hmm. Hey, I'm going to do things my way. And I watched that, and I thought if I was an owner or a GM, I'm like, okay, that's the Bill I've heard about. The happy Bill, the fun Bill. You know, he's a serious man. Yeah. But I thought after it, I'm like, okay, and he's been good on McAfee, and I'm like, okay, this is the Bill that I think is totally hireable. He got, and you know, listen, I understand coaches, but Bill's rep for about 2 years at the end there was a clunky.
Yeah, time was ending over there, and you know, that's how, anytime you're in any area or with anyone or any opportunity, any job for a long time, things get stale. Yeah. I thought it was a great night for him. I thought it meant probably a lot for Brady to see him there. Yeah. You know, the tension with the shot with him and Mr. Kraft.
Yeah, that was palpable.
Great TV.
But it's not that one. Here's the thing, Julian. In my opinion, that one's never going to be close. But I do think Tom and Bill, and this was a real icebreaker, I think they really do know how much they meant for each other.
They love each other. And I've always said that. It just sometimes it takes time after a long time being together to realize that. Yeah. And, you know, I could specifically remember when TB went to Tampa Bay and he would say things like, you know, everything that's normal that we're used to doing is not normal. So all the stuff he used to complain about, he wanted.
Isn't that interesting?
You know what I mean? And you know, that they definitely love each other. I feel, I mean, I could be completely wrong, but you know, we needed both of them.
Yeah, I think what Bill provided for Tom was he never had to win mostly by shootouts, which even if you're Mahomes is hard. Mm-hmm. And I think what Tom provided was a fairly egoless quarterback. There's not a lot of superstar athletes in America that don't bring some crap to the table, and Tom really didn't. And so in the end, what they provided to each other was very rare. Tom, for 15 years, 18 years, never had a bad O-line or a crappy defense. Mm-hmm. That just doesn't happen in pro football. You always have, you lose a free agent, you lose a pass rusher, and I think both now look back at it and think, it's funny that you say the Tampa thing. It's just like a relationship. You leave it, the grass is greener, and you're like, yeah, that ain't great. Yeah. I kind of miss that.
Yeah. It's...
You didn't have that because you were a Patriot.
I never had that.
But you've talked to guys.
I've talked to guys, and when guys leave, they realize why it was a tough environment and why we won when they left. And it's hard to say that with Brady leaving and going winning a Super Bowl. But, I always explain it like this. Tom always had a chip. And we all knew Tom played better when he was pissed off.
Yeah, you said that, yeah.
And what did Bill like to do? Piss off Tom. And what did Tom do? Get pissed off and play great football.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it's super Jedi mind tricks that Bill played, because sometimes it was a lot. But I think that's what he thought he had to do to motivate Tom to get the best out of him.
The other thing is, you're obviously still close with guys, and now you're the father, and your life's changed, and there's different things of importance. But I don't know why I always think about this. Whenever a football team is good, I always think winning on the road is cooler. Because to get on a plane and fly home for 4 hours after a win on the road against a good team, I'm like, that is guy time. That is even better. Locker room, you go in, media's there, you shower. That's the part of your life that where I look as a sportscaster, not the money. It's like to be on those planes with Brady and Gronk and road wins. Mm-hmm. Are those special to you?
My favorite win of my career that wasn't a Super Bowl was the 18 AFC Championship when we went to Kansas City. Like, we had the stigma that we couldn't win on the road. We've been hearing it for years. We lost to Denver twice in the AFC Championship in Denver. Yeah. To go there, play in a hostile environment against a young, sexy, new generation team. We were kind of that old team that was, the old generation holding on. And to go out there and compete and everyone perform and be a part of the contribution to going out there and win. There's nothing like going home on that plane with the guys. Like you said, when you're at home, you got 20 minutes and guys are out of there. You got to go to your family. You got the media there. When you have a 3-hour flight, you're in there. Guys are bumping music. Guys are having fun. There could be some cocktails on there that aren't supposed to be on there. But it's literally that's the number one thing you miss when you leave the game is that camaraderie of that away trip flight back home.
So I was right.
You were right.
That's what I think about. Mark Sanchez, when they beat the Chargers, it was a foggy day in San Diego. Remember that? Sanchez went west. Foggy and a good Charger team. And I'm like, man, you got 5.5 hours flying back. He's like, you have no idea. That is just great living. You cannot duplicate that.
You can't.
Julian Edelman, by the way, he has a podcast, Games with Names. It's really good. They have a new episode every Tuesday. One of my favorite people is on this week, Drew Bledsoe. I love Drew. And I always think Drew's had an interesting life. He was replaced by the greatest player ever, and it minimizes how great Drew was, who had, by the way, I thought maybe the funniest joke in the whole thing. Tom, there's two things I have. I was a number one pick, and I'm celebrating my 28th wedding anniversary. I thought that was a great line. But Drew kind of gets beat up, not on purpose, but because of Tom's greatness. And I love that you guys all rally around him. I think he's a special guy.
Well, Drew's a pivotal part of one of those pillars that helped build this whole thing early on in the Patriot dynasty. He's always been a great sport about it, and that's got to be a very tough situation because he's a baller. We threw the ball on Sunday night when we did that podcast. That guy can still sling it. Like, you could see why he was he looks the part
of a
number one draft pick. He picks up, and Tom used to say it all the time. He could pick up any ball fresh out the box, and he could just sling it. Big hands. He's a great sport. He was a humble guy about that whole situation. If you've watched and heard the stories of how he handled a young 25-year-old or 23-year-old kid coming in and taking his job after getting a huge contract, like, he was still a team guy. And that's the Patriot way. Not doing what's best for you, but doing what's best for the team.
Yeah.
That was on the wall when we walked in every day. Mental toughness, doing what's best for the team when it may not be the best for you. And Drew's, he's in there.
Yeah. Great seeing you, my man.
Great to see you, too.
It is Drew Bledsoe out now. Games with Names. Really a smartly constructed and delivered podcast. I love having you on. Whenever I see your name on the list, I'm in a good mood, buddy.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Uncle Colin. Subscribe here to get the latest from the herd, including exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and more, wherever you may be, however you may be watching. Thanks again for making us part of your day.